Hey guys, in this video we're going to look at the Panda Intarsia that I created. It is another pattern by Judy Gale Roberts, and you can find the pattern on www.intarsia.com. Hope you enjoy. Hey folks, what I'm doing here is I'm rounding over the edges of the pattern pieces here. This is actually a piece of this panda's face. Faces are pretty round on the edges, so that's what I'm actually doing here. I'm rounding over the edges of the face to give it some contour, make it look more realistic basically. Now some parts are too small to do on the flex sander, so I use my little Dremel tool, little sanding sleeve on that, to shape and contour some of the smaller pieces. Right here I'm contouring part of the panda's ear, and you'll see it a little bit better angle in a second when I switched here. But basically I'm contouring out the ear to make it look more realistic. So sometimes when you're doing a pattern, you want to raise the profile of certain parts within that pattern. Right here I'm tracing out the snout so I can put a shim under it to make the snout stick out further on the face, which makes it more realistic. Once you cut out the shim, you glue it to the back of the piece that you want to raise in your pattern, and then sand it accordingly to match the pieces that connect to it, the adjacent pieces that connect to it in the pattern. Another thing I like to do when I have an animal pattern is I like to create the illusion of fur, and I do that by roughing up the furry part that I want with my little Dremel tool and a little abrasive stone that I use. And right here you can see I'm actually creating fur, the impression of fur on the legs of the panda. on this particular pattern, I didn't have enough wenge wood to do the entire panda. Wenge is very black wood, so what I did was I did a different technique by blackening the wood that I did use with a blowtorch. Not my desired way to do it, but I like it nonetheless. I did the same thing for the legs and arms of the panda, but I didn't. It took me a lot longer to do these parts because it was a little bit different type of wood, a little bit harder wood, and but the result was still pretty good. I liked it. So once all the shaping and texturing and blackening was all completed, I assembled the pattern together, glued it up, and you can see here what I meant when I talk about profiling the nut and snout and nose part of it. And I added a little tree that the panda was sitting up against, and glued it up, varathaned it, and put it up on my wall. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. More Intarsia patterns to come.